Hi guys, welcome to Windsome Cottage Garden. My name is Hannah and I'm so glad that you decided to join me today. We are in the home garden and it's time to get a couple more plants from our plant hoard in the ground. Today is actually November 1st. And as you might be able to tell from my sweatshirt, the nice weather has left us. We had incredible winds the last couple days that has brought 70-degree weather, so it was great, and Halloween was fairly warm. Much better than last year where we got like 12 inches of snow in 6 hours, which put a damper on trick-or-treating. It also like popped out of nowhere and I had to frantically haul out my snowblower to make sure it worked. Didn't have that happen this year, which is great. We still have only had a couple frosts here at the home garden. I'm in West Michigan Zone 6B. And I still have a lot of plants I need to get in the ground. You guys probably aren't going to be seeing this until quite some time after it is filmed. So I do want to mention, most people recommend that you get things in the ground 6 weeks before a hard frost, which is 28 degrees or lower. We have not had a hard frost yet where I am, but we're definitely within 6 weeks of one. Personally, I find that it is better to get stuff in the ground than overwinter them in the pots, which is what I'd be doing, especially because a lot of these plants overwintered last year in pots. They've been under a lot of stress this year anyway. So I'm making the decision to just get things in the ground, roll the dice, and hopefully if I keep things watered well, they will settle in. So today I'm going to be doing, I think 5 or 6 plants, I don't remember exactly how many, from the hoard in the front yard. I've already gone through and kind of placed where they're going. And the first area is actually somewhere that is a little wet right now. Because I have been planting stuff late and my irrigation system is now turned off, I'm making a concerted effort to go around and water the areas that have been done. I started one and then realized I have a plant that's supposed to be going in here. So let's go check out that area and we'll ignore the dampness. And once I get it planted, I'll turn the water back on and we'll head to another spot. So we are in this front bed. We've spent many an hour in this year. And I'm gonna get one of these clematis in the ground. Originally, we planned to wait until this project, which I've talked about in other videos, was completed. Going to be a garbage can turnaround area with a trellis. I was gonna wait until everything was installed. It's looking like that's not gonna happen in the near future. So I'm gonna get this in the ground so it can overwinter here. If it gets cut back, it'll be okay. And I can just train it as time goes on. You'll notice I'm gonna be moving it over here. I'm gonna pull it a little bit, but I'm leaving space for a second one in the future so we can have 2 really pretty things in this area. Now this clematis actually came with me from my old house, so it is one of those plants that has been in this can quite some time. So I'm sure it's going to be happy to get in the ground, even if it's not got much growing and root setting to be done yet this year. So I'm going to get that in, and I'm going to go to the other areas, and at the end we will come back and show you all that I get done. It is currently, I currently probably have only about an hour, maybe 2 of light left. So I'm likely to finish this tomorrow, but you're going to see all these plants in this video. So let's get planting and we'll come back and give you details later. Editing Hannah here. I never got around to filming an end to this video, and I will talk about why and where I've been a little bit at the end of this video, but I did want to pop in here and give you some details on this clematis. This is from my old house, so if my records are correct, this is a Perrin's Pride clematis, which will get flowers that are 5 to 6 inches in purple in color on both old and new growth. So it's got a really great life cycle. It's hardy in zones 4 through 11 and will get 7 to 10 feet tall. Next up, I got 2 baby Eastern red buds planted. I stuck them here. I don't know if they're going to survive. They got dried out a little bit. They're kind of scrawny. If they do, that's great. If they don't, that's okay. The next plant that I got in the ground on this planting day was a baby from the crazy viburnum we have at the cottage. I have talked about this before. It's lived there such a long time. And neither my dad and I remember what type it is. We believe it is a double file viburnum. It's definitely a viburnum. A double file is zones 5 through 8. It likes full to part sun and is supposed to get 6 to 8 feet tall and 8 to 10 feet wide. We call ours the crazy viburnum because it loves its spot. It is much bigger than that and it blooms multiple times a year. I was really excited when there was a baby that my dad dug it up, put it in a pot for me, and it's done well so far. I got it in the nick of time for winter, so hopefully it will settle in and it will be its crazy viburnum self in my space as well. Next up is a proven winners plant that I have had in my hoard for quite some time. You're going to notice fairly quickly that I'm going to run into a problem here. I gave up and I came back the next day, and I'm going to briefly talk in here about the issue I ran into, and then I will come back after Past Me explains the problem, and we'll give you the plant deets. Okay, so as you might be able to tell, it is a new day. I ran out of light last night, and when I was planting one of the plants, I discovered fabric and what I thought was an irrigation line. Today I discovered it was actually edging, buried like 3 inches deep into the grass. So I had originally thought I was going to clear this whole thing. I'm not. This is a project that could take hours on its own. I have cleared it from where I want to plant this plant because right now my priority is getting plants in the ground. So I'm going to do this, but I've talked about it a lot, and it's always worth repeating when this happens. Don't use weed fabric unless you're putting it under stone. In my opinion, that's the only way to use it. If you're putting it under something where you're not going to be adding organic matter, that will break down and bury it. Likewise, if you have lawn edging, maintain it, because this has just been all over this property. And unfortunately, a lot of these plants, I can guarantee, because this has happened in other places. You can see here, there's actually 2 or 3 layers of weed fabric that I've kind of tucked out, and this was here. I've cut out a section, and I'm just going to leave that for now. But all these plants, as I was saying, I can guarantee have weed fabric around them, and it is cutting their lives short. One, even though water is able to go through it, it is not, you will see when you're looking at this, the soil underneath it is so poor. It is so dry. It's completely devoid of nutrients because all the nutrients of like mulch and whatnot are working their way down, and it's strangling the roots. They're growing up in it. They're trying to get out. Some of the times this was wrapped around them when they were brand new, and it's quite literally strangling them. So this is an example of what not to do with weed fabric, especially because of subsequent homeowners like me who spend half their time digging it out. I'm assuming they didn't know better, or they thought they were going to maintain it in a different way. If you are like the previous homeowners of this house, I would highly encourage you not to do this. But because this could take literally hours to dig this out, and I do have lots of plans in this area that will be done next year, I am just clearing out where the plant is going. I'm actually even going to leave the fabric up so I can very clearly see where it starts and stops. And we're just going to get this in the ground and move on. I'm also going to be doing something odd over here. I have, as I mentioned, big plans for this area, including like a circle garden and path that I thought I was going to do long before this and haven't. So I'm just going to dig out a circle where this big bed is, keep the center point in, and plant this plant that I think might be dead. But I bought it on clearance and it was dying back, so I'm hoping it still has root activity. We'll see when we get in the middle. Actually, I'll probably pull it out of the can first. And if there's no roots, I won't plant it. If there are roots, I'm going to plant it. So let's dive back in. I just wanted to pop in and explain some things before moving on. So this shrub is the perfect Mundo Epic Coral Reblooming Azalea by Proven Winners. It's part sun to sun and will get 3 to 4 feet tall and 3 to 5 feet wide. I really was excited about this because a lot of azaleas in our area get quite big, and I liked that this one was a little bit more petite. It also really does rebloom. It bloomed all throughout the fall in its can, even though it definitely had some trouble keeping its moisture levels intact. I think it's going to provide a really pretty pop here. Finding the right spot for it was difficult because it's a very warm pink, so I had to do a little bit of moving around because it was clashing with other colors I had. The warm pink tone is not one that I have in a lot of areas, and it's probably not one I'm going to be adding in a lot of areas. When I purchased this, I was going off the picture on the can because it didn't have any blooms at that moment in time, and it was a little bit lighter. I'm thinking it may have faded in the sun than the actual bloom, which is a very vibrant, tropical, warm tone. It's pretty. I really enjoy it, but I need to be careful where I place it. As you can see here, I am getting this obelisk more firmly planted and leveled to put a clematis on it. As I mentioned when I was talking when this was being filmed, it had died back, but the roots looked really, really good. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to plant it. Unfortunately, I have since misplaced the tag. So I don't know what type of clematis it was. It was a pretty purple one that got really tall. Like I want to say it was going to get about 12 to 13 feet tall. So I thought this huge obelisk would be a good place to pop it. The last plant that I got in on this gardening adventure day was a snowbell mock orange. Now, this is actually a plant that has been in my mom and dad's plant hoard at the cottage for a really long time. I took it earlier this year with permission, and I'd meant to plant it sooner than this. But one of the things I love about the snowbell mock orange is they're not huge like some mock oranges. This is supposed to get about 4 to 5 feet tall and 4 to 5 feet wide. They bloom in the mid to late spring and have such an amazing scent. It is just wonderful. Now they like full sun to part shade, so this is a little bit of an experimental spot. And they are also hardy in zones 4 through 8. Hi guys, future Hannah here. It has been a while since I've posted. And as you might be able to tell from the beginning of this video, it was filmed quite some time ago. This fall, I had so many different projects that I needed to get finished as I was really focused on emptying my plant hoard before winter. And so I have a number of different videos that I started filming and projects I started documenting that I never finished the end of. I debated whether I was going to even post these videos. And I actually don't even remember how many I have right now off the top of my head. Like, I think there's at least 2 more. One of the things I have always tried to do in my videos was be authentic. Life, as I knew it, drastically changed at the beginning of November when one of my sisters, Molly, died. Molly was 25. It's a week after her 25th birthday. And it was unexpected. A lot of things got put on hold. It has been a lot since then. And posting these videos or filming the ends wasn't on my mind. I'm still obviously feeling a lot of grief, and I will for a while. And there are a lot of other projects that I did or finished, and I didn't film them because they just needed to be done. And I didn't really feel like talking to the camera. Well, I touched a lot of lives, and I don't want this to be sadder than it probably already is. But I do want to be authentic with you. I probably am not going to talk about it a lot, obviously. It's been a really rough, to be honest, made even harder by the fact that it gets dark so early. And can't go outside, which is usually how I cope with things, is go get my hands in the dirt. So, I'm going to do the next best thing, which is share my garden with you guys. And I have a lot of videos that I'd already planned and started some work on. It may be a little slower in coming out, but I'll be here and I'll be back. And I wanted to say thank you in advance. I really have appreciated some of the regular viewers who check in on videos and comment, and I don't always respond, but I see them and I appreciate them. And I know some of you will probably comment on this video too. So thank you in advance for all the comments and the well wishes. A lot of this channel, I've documented a garden, but it's my garden and my parents' garden, but it's always been a family effort. I did want to give you guys this larger explanation for what's happened and where I've been and why I might not be my exuberant self for a while, as I kind of work through this and learn to navigate this new normal. I really do appreciate you joining me. I say it at the end of all my videos, but I really do mean it. So thank you. And I look forward to seeing you next time.